Can I tell you something? It's not that you're not qualified, you're just unsure. And if we're being completely honest, you're ready. You just haven't moved yet. See, we don't like to admit it, but sometimes we use preparation as a shield. We say things like, once I finish this course, then I'll feel ready. Or let me get one more certification so I can be taken seriously. I'll launch after I polish this thing just a little bit more. But that delay isn't about preparation, it's about fear. And here's what I've learned: you don't need another certification, you just need some more courage. Welcome back to the Emmanuel Dr. EG3 podcast, where we speak truth, we drop wisdom, and challenge you to grow into the version of yourself you were always meant to be. If you're new here, this is the space where we cut through the noise and speak to the real you, the one that knows you were made for more, even when doubt creeps in and you feel a little messy. And if you've been rocking with me for a while, you know we don't wait for clarity, we create it. So let's get into today's episode. Now, before I ever stepped into coaching or entrepreneurship, I remember when it was time for me to be promoted to pharmacy manager position. It was a role as soon as I transitioned from New Orleans to the Houston area. And I can tell you, it wasn't really something that I sought out. I was just trying to transition from where I was to a new space after Hurricane Katrina. And it was the opportunity that it gave me. And if I'm being straight up with you, I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't expecting it. I was just focused on doing good work, showing up, helping other people out, trying to get in my own lane. And at the time, I'm not going to use the word desperate, but I took on the leadership position because it was what was offered to me. So when it came, my immediate reaction wasn't excitement. Well, I guess it was a little bit of excitement, to be young and offered a pharmacy manager position. But I can tell you there was some hesitation in the background. I thought about, is this the right opportunity? Are they sure that I'm ready for this? I started listing off everything that I wasn't. I didn't feel ready. I didn't feel polished enough. I wasn't the most experienced at the time. Now, I had worked for the company for 6 years by this point, but it was in 6 months of me being a pharmacist, right? I hadn't earned it yet. But the truth is, I didn't feel ready. But that's when I learned one of the most important things of my life. Still resonates to this today. You will rarely ever feel ready for the next opportunity that you have. And since you rarely feel ready, that doesn't mean that those opportunities won't shape you the most. But that doesn't mean you say no to them. In fact, I believe you say yes for the opportunities when they're presented, and you learn to grow into the opportunity. So I said yes, nervously, with a little doubt still hanging around. But I still said yes. And that one decision, honestly, has opened more doors for me to influence, growth, impact that I could have ever imagined or predicted. What most happened during that time was it almost planted this seed in me. It was this deeper belief that readiness isn't a prerequisite for leadership. Actually, courage to say yes is. So if we fast forward to a few years later, doing this role, doing this job, I kind of noticed these same patterns kept showing up again, where an opportunity would be presented. I didn't feel ready, but I kept pushing myself to accept it. So whether it was a transfer to a busier pharmacy, the eventuality of me becoming a regional supervisor, to then me transition to academia, I never really felt ready for any of these things. But I still said yes anyway. And through this time, I recognized that I was always here to help people, to help them as their coach, helping them to reach their dreams, helping them to meet the metrics and goals that they had for themselves. And I could remember going into the pandemic, this is where I really decided to take that leap. This is where I felt that I could do more for the world by giving back. I went ahead and got my high performance coach certification. I had done the training. I did the tools. But if I could be honest with you, I still hesitated. And this time I caught it faster though, because I recognize over time that you never really feel ready, but that doesn't mean you don't say yes anyway. And I recognize that voice on the inside, the one that says, if I just get a little more ready, If I just get this one extra thing, if I do that additional training, then I'll launch. But I already knew. If I waited until I truly felt ready, I most likely would never start. So I didn't do another course. I haven't done another course in quite some time, but I chose again courage to jump out there and do it. And maybe give you one more example of what I mean here about not waiting until you're fully ready before you launch. Maybe you're listening to this on a smartphone. And I'm not sure if any of you have your smartphones, but every so often there's a new operating system that needs to be downloaded or needs to be updated, that they're fixing something from the last time. Now, if you know anything about computer software, if they wait until they're 100% perfect, most of these updates and technology would never be updated. It would never be launched because there's always something to tinker. There's always a new breach or something that happens. So guess what? When you have to update your phone, it's not 100% ready. So that's why you get that new operating system, and a few weeks later, or sometimes days, depending on the system, you might need a patch or what they call an update. I encourage you. You may not feel ready for the next opportunity, but that doesn't mean you don't say yes anyway. Now, I want to make sure that we really spend some time diving this, what this means for you, because I know some of you are still sitting right there listening to this, that you have a decision to make. You have a dream to chase, or how about a calling? And you've convinced yourself that you just need one more thing before you do it. But I want to help dismantle it maybe a little bit with 4 mindset shifts that might be able to help you out. So number 1, more credentials is the adult version of I'm not good enough yet. Now, we dress it up nicely. We say, I just want to be more prepared. I want to be responsible. But underneath, it's often insecurity that's just wrapped in a pretty cap and gown. We've confused credentials with calling. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's some professions and there's some spaces that you might need those credentials or those different letters behind your name. I want you to know that I believe in excellence and expertise. I know that they're experts, and that's not what I'm talking about here. But if you've just been sitting in class for years and never really building the life that you want, or taking courses or different certifications, it's time to stop studying and time to just start showing up. Because I know you're telegraphing and you think, I need this to be successful. I need that to be successful. You don't know how your career and your path and your journey is going to take you. You might sit there gathering all of these credentials and courses and certifications, and you may find in a few short months or years that you don't use them anyway. So you learn more information in motion than you will planning on the finish line and never getting started. Number 2, courage is a muscle, not a moment. People think that courage is this kind of lightning bolt thing that comes down and just flashes and all of a sudden jolts you and put that Energizer bunny in your back so you can go forward. Well, I'm going to tell you it's not. Courage is a decision that you practice over and over and over again. And it's not always big ways. Sometimes it's just small things you do that you step out on courage. Sometimes it's just the courage to speak up, the courage to start. Or how about this? The courage to not over-explain your yeses, and the courage to actually say no. You don't become courageous once. You become courageous daily. And it's a choice that you have to make every single day. And guess what, guys? Sometimes it's moment to moment. Number 3, confidence doesn't come before action. It's actually a result of action. So let me put it like this. You don't learn to swim by reading books on swimming. You got to get in the water. And the same is actually with confidence. You build it by doing something. That starting that we talked about before, that messy, awkward, hot messness of doing things imperfectly. You figure it out along the way. And guess what? The first time you try something, it might actually flop. It might actually stink. You're going to actually be a hot mess. But even that builds resilience. And the second time, you get better. And the third time, you get stronger. And then the fourth time, you get meaner and more efficient. So stop waiting for confidence to show up and start acting in alignment with who you're becoming. Before we get to number 4, let me recap. So number 1 is recognizing more credentials is the adult version of saying I'm not good enough yet. Number 2 is recognizing that courage is a muscle, not a moment. Number 3 is confidence doesn't come before action. It's actually a result of action. So it brings us to number 4. Someone needs what you've already learned. Now, not what you're going to learn, not what is expected to be learned, but what you're already carrying right now. Let's think about it. There's someone out there facing a problem that you've already overcome. A version of you from 2 years ago, 5 years ago, how about this last week, who is stuck and scared, but you could actually help them out with their problem. You have a story, you have wisdom, you have something real to offer them. And by withholding that, by saying, you know what, I need more time, I need more training, I need more validation, you're keeping that very gift that someone else needs. You're keeping it away from them. That's not humility. That's actually fear that you've dressed up and disguised it where you can sit around with it a little bit better. Let's stop hiding behind preparation and start serving the people that need you from a position of purpose. So here's your challenge this week. I want you to ask yourself, where am I stalling? What excuses am I using to delay action? And then also I want you to ask, what would it look like just to do it scared? And once you've kind of wrestled with that a little bit, I want you to pick one area, just one, because I know how you overachievers are. You're going to create a to-do list and you're going to make it 13 pages long and you're going to feel overwhelmed. I just want you to pick one thing to take a bold, imperfect step this week based on the answers to the questions we just asked. Now, I'm going to warn you right now. You're not going to feel ready. I want you to do it anyway. I want you to move it more within faith of yourself, of being able to figure it out. I want you to let readiness catch up to your obedience of taking that leap of faith. So, if this message today stirred something in you, resonated, don't let it fade. Share it. Subscribe somewhere on this page. If you need some help, you know how to get in contact with me on my website, emmanuelgeorge.com. I want to make sure that we don't let fear keep dressing up as responsibility. Your gifts were meant for this moment. And guess what? It may not be for you. It's probably for someone else. And this moment that you're in today is not about you today or you yesterday. It's about making a decision that prepares a better version of yourself going forward. This could be the moment that a future version of yourself will be thanking you that you said yes, thanking you that you showed up. And I want that person to be proud of you, proud of the decision that you made. So guys, I hope this helped. And as always, I want you to know, I love you much.